This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Cutter Devin. Welcome you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, April 22nd, a great goaltending career had crashed and burned. Yes, that's right. Patrick Roy played his final game in the NHL and was shot in the first round by the Minnesota Wild. Now, the 2003 Stanley Cup playoffs as a whole was huge and all that. It began on my 18th birthday, I kid you not, April 9th, 2003, and ended June 9th. So 2 months. This was the first time Minnesota qualified for the playoffs, even though it was only their third season in the NHL. Minnesota was the 6th seed and almost got to the Stanley Cup Finals. They were massive underdogs. They were down 3-1 in 2 straight rounds. And again, and also the Canucks came back from 3-1 down. So 3 teams came back from 3-1 down, which is amazing. It's not the first time it's happened. 1992, if memory serves me right, was the other time it had happened. Because if memory serves me right, the Winnipeg Jets were up 3-1 on Vancouver and choked. The Winnipeg/Phoenix franchise has a history of choking that 3-1 leads. Who else choked a 3-1 lead? Oh yeah, the Minnesota North Stars blew a 3-1 lead to the Red Wings. That's 2, and who else in 92? Someone else. I can't remember, but I don't know if that was the year. But anyway, yeah. So in the playoffs of 2003, Ottawa, with 113 points, were the President's Trophy winners. Surprise, surprise. I mean, Ottawa? They won the division in the Eastern Conference. New Jersey got the 2 seed, and Tampa the 3 seed. Now, because at that time there were 3 divisions, the 3 division winners were 1, 2, 3. That's why Tampa, with 93 points, was 3rd, and that's why Philly and Toronto, for that matter, weren't above them in the standings. So Philly would have been 3rd on points, Toronto would have been 4th, and then Tampa would have been 5th. But regardless, Philly, Toronto, Washington, Boston, and the New York Islanders got in on the final day? I can't remember. But anyway, the Western Conference saw Dallas beat Detroit by 1 point. The defending Stanley Cup champions lost by 1 point for the Western Conference crown. Colorado got 105 points and the 3 seed cleanly because Vancouver had 104. St. Louis was 5th. Minnesota was 6th. Anaheim was 7th. Both had 95 points, but Minnesota had more wins, so Minnesota got the higher seed, and Edmonton was number 8 at 92 points. In the Eastern Conference, Ottawa easily took care of the Islanders in 5. Devils easily got their series in 5. Tampa had a tougher time with Washington, but thanks to Martin St. Louis', I guess, triple overtime goal? I like this. Yeah, triple overtime goal. Tampa won a playoff series for the first time ever and knocked out Washington. And Philadelphia, Toronto had one of the greatest playoff series of all time by time. Like, they went through 3 overtime games, but that's not the crux of it. All 3 overtime games were made in double overtime or triple overtime. The Leafs won 2 double overtime games. The Flyers won the triple overtime game. Otherwise, the Flyers easily did well. Ottawa, number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 2003 playoffs in the East moved on. Ottawa would beat Philly 6 games. New Jersey would take down Tampa in 5. So basically, the Eastern Conference playoffs, no upsets. But number 1 Ottawa lost to the Devils. Jeff frickin' Friesen, Game 7, overtime winner. This was one of the few times I wanted Ottawa to actually do well because, with Toronto out and Ottawa, Canadian pride. Because at that time, it was 9 years since Canada won a Stanley Cup. So we were hoping to make sure the streak didn't hit the 10. But anyway, the Western playoffs were a different kettle of fish. Dallas, the 1 seed, took care of Edmonton in 6. Anaheim, the 7 seed, took care of the 2 seed Red Wings, the defending Stanley Cup champions, in 4 straight. Detroit didn't even win one game. And they put Cujo, and they swiped Cujo from Toronto. And all that, all for nothing. And, well, Anaheim surprised a lot of people, including themselves. Number 3, Colorado took on number 6, Minnesota. as you can guess, Minnesota won that series in 7. But Colorado had a 3-1 series lead and choked. There were 2 overtime games. Game 6, I think, was Richard Park. And Game 7 was Andrew Burnett, who slid it under wall. And then Minnesota Wild shocked Colorado and sent Patrick Watt to retirement. Vancouver, they were the 4th seed against number 5 St. Louis. They were down 3-1, but they rallied and somehow pulled it off and won in 7 games. That meant Dallas would play Anaheim and Vancouver would take on Minnesota. Dallas was expected to take care of Anaheim, but the good news is Dallas won 2 games. The bad news is Anaheim won 4. So the Ducks, thanks to a quintuple overtime or 5 overtime goal by Mr. Peter Sikora, the Ducks sent Dallas packing. Well, that wasn't the series-winning goal, but you know what I mean. And Vancouver had a 3-1 series lead on Minnesota. It was like, well, Vancouver and Anaheim. It'd be like, well, let's see if Vancouver can get to the Stanley Cup Finals. We could see an all-Canadian matchup. We were salivating, Canadians. But then, for some reason, Vancouver stopped scoring goals. As I look at the stuff, Minnesota won 7-2, 5-1, and 4-2. So Vancouver only scored 5 freaking goals in the last 3 games. Not good, and not even close. So that forced a weird and wacky Western final between Anaheim and Minnesota, the 6 and 7 seeds. Can you imagine? And the worst part is Minnesota was the better seed, and they still lost. Anaheim won 4-0. Minnesota weren't ready for prime time. Anaheim was around for about a decade, but yeah. So the Ducks would take on the Devils in the Stanley Cup Finals. And shockingly, the 2003 Stanley Cup Finals saw the Devils win in 7 games. I kid you not. It took 7 games to eliminate those pesky Anaheim Ducks. But here's the thing. New Jersey had the extra home game and won all 4 home games, whereas Anaheim won all 3 of their home games. The Stanley Cup Final was remembered for Steve Thomas's goal in Game 4 or 3. I think it was Game 4. His overtime goal that tied the series at 2. And, Steve Thomas finally getting to a Stanley Cup Final and all that. And in Game 6, Paul Kariya getting shafted by one Scott Stevens. But he got up off the ice and he scored a goal to lift the Ducks to a Game 7 against the Devils, which the Devils easily won 3-0 on home turf. Despite the Devils winning the Cup, J.S. Shiger won the Conn Smythe Trophy. After all, if it wasn't for him, the Ducks would have been easily taken out by the Red Wings in the first round. But yeah, Minnesota shocked a lot of people. In fact, they shocked a lot of people in 2014 when they took out the Avalanche in the first round. Now, I won't lie. I actually picked Minnesota in 7. Because when I was going through in my head in 2014, who should I pick? I said, well, Minnesota might do it again to Colorado. Colorado's heavily favored, but Minnesota might come in and win Game 7 on the road. I didn't say in overtime, but deja vu, as Nino Niederreiter scored in Game 7 in overtime in Colorado. And I kid you not, I nearly went flawless in the first round with predictions. I was 7-1. But Colorado was not my one miss. The miss was San Jose when they choked that 3-0 series lead to the Kings. I would have been 8-0. That would have been unprecedented. I've never done that before. Makes you think. But anyway, yeah, Minnesota, the Minnesota Miracle Men. Kind of like what the Mighty Ducks movies and all that. But yeah, whatever. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adu.